right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're back with another TMCJ podcast. We are actually on episode 8
Eight.
now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We've actually been doing, and we've been doing weekly ones. This is week 8.
Yeah, so I guess, how many months is that now? That's like almost 3 months we've been doing it.
About 2. Most months are like 4-ish weeks, especially the
Yes,
summer
I'm
ones.
dumb. That's 2, yes. For some reason it was like 21 days in a month. Smooth.
21 days in a month. That's,
Yep. And I haven't even started drinking yet.
That's as good a way to open things up as any. That's something actually. Speaking of noises that we might hear in the background, because that definitely came through.
I can't help it.
It is finally a beautiful fall day here in New England. It's,
I mean, I saw a picture from you the other day, and it had like a flooded canal. So I was
that's the canal.
yeah, but like it was looking super, just miserable out there.
Well, that's just because the canal looks horrible. I mean, I live in the middle of a city with like it's an old mill town.
It was a video, and it was tipping it down, right?
Oh, that's right. You're talking about yeah. So that was the result of the hurricane that was hitting the.
Oh well, there you go then.
Well, okay, but all right. I feel like we just had an argument and never fully explained any of the things we were saying to each other. So that's just going to sound like gibberish. No,
we do not get hurricanes over here. So if someone has a hurricane, that's like the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Let me give context to that though, because I live on the east coast of the U.S., but on the northeast coast. So when a hurricane hits like Florida or one of the southern states around the Gulf, the worst we get is torrential rain, and that's what was happening. And that's the video he's referencing. I sent a video of torrential rain in the canal outside. The reason I brought up the beautiful weather, however, though, was because I've got my window wide open, so it's entirely possible that some noise is going to be coming through that window during the podcast.
Oh, that's fair. My window is shut. My curtains are drawn. And I'm fully wearing black.
So you're just...
It's a beautiful day out there, but I am not... So yesterday, I went to the beach.
Yeah.
I think that's enough sun for like the month.
You need...
Really nice, don't get me wrong. There was lots of doggos on the beach. It was wonderful.
Trying to protect yourself from vitamin D poisoning or something?
Yeah. Isn't it vitamin C? No, because it's Sunny D, isn't it? Yeah.
Vitamin D is the vitamin that's generated. Your body needs sunlight to create it.
Also, vitamin.
No, it's vitamin. Fuck off. Are we going to open up with an argument about US versus UK again?
We do it every week.
It's tradition at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do have to say, I really do love the thumbnail that you made for last week's with the.
Well, sorry, finish the thought.
No, I was just with the front and center, the British versus US flag.
Yeah, well, not versus. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have had like a. Oh, Beyblade stuck in my head now. Like a versus, one versus the other.
Oh my god.
Like fighting stances. But no, something I noticed while making them.
Yeah.
Is that it's not a mistake that I made, but the week before, I put in Donkey in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
That's the second Shrek character that I've put in the thumbnail. And there's only been 8 episodes. Oh, already starting to repeat myself.
Clearly, we have a taste for the classics. Shrek being a big one.
Yeah. And the other repeat I did was I've done 2 flags I think in a row now. There was the Japanese flag.
Oh yeah, you're right. So this is me.
Technically 3.
This is me in the background, scrolling back up through our chat, looking at the thumbnails that you've sent.
Yeah, it was the one with the bad apple and.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first ones, either podcast 4 or podcast 5. Because the only special thumbnail we used for the just the test cases was what was it? Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah. I think all the full episodes have had thumbnails. I think. I think.
Yeah. Ever since, yeah, well, that's what we decided after we you made the one for Beetlejuice. It's like that's a great idea. Let's keep this going for all the full
Run with
episodes.
it.
Yeah.
Bit, bit of fun.
Yeah. All right. So we just launched off into a tangent without even bothering to, like,
Yes.
literally. That's essentially just like a rehash of last week because we opened up with UK versus the US.
Well,
And
normally we're more scheduled at the beginning of these things. We have topics and things, and then it descends into madness.
I actually do have a topic.
Oh, yeah?
But I was just having fun with that conversation, so I didn't want to transition.
Well, time to go trans.
Oh God, not again.
That's
All right.
it for today then.
First topic. Yeah, can we save the potentially controversial comments until segment 3?
What, transitioning? Oh, yay. Go on.
All right, topics. The very first, the only thing I had written down, and I thought we kind of touched on this lightly during the last podcast, or sloppily, I should say. We kind of played around with this idea in the media segment, but we didn't go in depth with it, and I wanted to kind of explore it a little bit more in this, and that's like storytelling tropes. Just in general, things that are kind of common tropes in, movies, books, whatever that we like, don't like, what annoys you when you see them in a movie or a show, what kind of is like, oh, I love that's my favorite kind of story.
Well, the problem is, like, I more easily remember things that annoy me.
Well, I mean, why
I don't know
not?
if that makes me a terrible person, but
I'm the exact same way. Like, if something pisses me off, it sticks in my head.
yeah. What I mean? Okay, I'm assuming we're saving Lucifer for part 2, right?
Yeah, I don't believe me.
Okay.
This is almost like priming the pump for, like, because I'm gonna dive into that in segment 2
Yeah,
because
you're so ready.
I binge watched the entire series in 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's light compared to. I watched the whole of Tokyo Ghoul in one day.
Well, how many episodes? So Lucifer was, first season was 13 episodes. Second season was 18. Third season was 26. Then Netflix took it over for season 4 and 5, and it was 10 and 8 episodes respectively.
Right.
But it's still, and they're all 40-minute episodes.
Yeah. Okay, here's a real achievement. I completed Factorio in a weekend.
Oh my, that is.
Without drones.
It goes back to the classic review comment. I used to have a family, now I have a factory.
Yeah. I have a few factories. I've got Satisfactory, Factorio.
God.
Oh.
Jesse's actually making a factory, like a Factorio Minecraft server.
In Minecraft, yeah, I've heard about this. He's very into that kind of game.
Yeah, he just put up it's most of my friends from college are. We're all engineers, so it kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I literally put down the topic and we immediately proceeded to go off topic without even starting on it.
Well, I finished Hellsing.
Yeah.
I don't think we brought it up last time. I don't think. And a trope that kind of annoyed me was the slow, dramatic death. And I know you need to have them, the big important moments, but in a series like Hellsing, where there's a lot of grit and viscerality? Is that a word? If not, I want that to be a word.
I think you may have just invented it, but I know what you mean.
Yes, very visceral. And yeah, the very last episode, the big climax of the Nazis and the KKK. This is going to get super demonetized. KKK and
like
the Catholic Church and the Spanish Inquisition. And, oh wait, I already said the KKK. Well, they're kind of like, anyway. Just watch it and you'll understand.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the big bad Nazi boss just gets a pistol shot through the head, and he's not even, big spoiler, he's not even a human. So it doesn't even it's not a gush of blood. he's a robot, so it's just like dunk, and he's dead.
I yeah. Two things about that. Like one, I know what you mean. I hate endings like that. Like that's Fable 2 ends like that. Also, spoiler alert. Fable 2, they build up this big bad guy the whole time, and he's like manipulating things behind the scenes, and at the end of the game, at the end of the plot line, you're just put in a room with him, and you can either let him go or shoot him in the face. And if you shoot him in the face, it's one shot to the head, and then game over, you win. That's it.
Some games have done that well though. Like I'm sure you've played Modern Warfare. I think it was.
You talking about Modern Warfare 1 or Modern Warfare 2?
Modern Warfare 2.
I've played it, yeah.
Where at the last fight, you throw, like, you're on the ground, there's Colonel Shepard above you, and you, like, nail him in the head with a throwing knife. I mean, that's basically the same thing, but it is so many levels cooler.
You said Colonel Shepard, and I just thought of Mass Effect.
Oh, wait, did I get the wrong name?
No. His name might be Colonel Shepard. That's a pretty common name, but Commander Shepard is the guy from Mass Effect. But anyway,
Shepard is like whenever they're like, we need a religious evil guy kind of thing. They're like, Shepard, perfect. It's like Jesus did, but not like, I don't know. You know, it's got like symbolism.
It doesn't necessarily have to be an evil guy. Like in Mass Effect, Shepard was the hero of the game, or in my version of Mass Effect,
evil as the main character of the game, can't you?
You could, yeah, you could be a complete fucking douchebag.
Yeah. And then your face gets all messed up when you're evil.
Yeah, that's Mass Effect 2 and 3.
Okay.
Your face doesn't get messed up in the first game. You just can be an asshole and look like a movie star, or like some kind of. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Shepard's the last name, right?
Yeah, and they did that on purpose so that people could call you Commander Shepard or just Shepard in the game, but you could still name your character.
Also, so that they can have the gender switch.
Yeah, that too. Which, by the way, anyone who's played Mass Effect, I know like most people end up playing the male Shepard. I've played both ways through because I've played those games a lot. The voice actor for the female Shepard fucking kills it. She is, in my opinion, leagues above the male voice actor. Yeah.
Oh wow! I thought you'd say that like the male one is kind of the one that's on, the one that everyone assumes is the real one, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think is a real injustice with that game. Like that Shepard, like the female Shepard, the voice actor, fucking kills it. Like
nice.
Like she has just like the intensity down pat, like in the critical moments where you're making either the good or the bad decision, or you're shouting somebody down or talking them down. Like she nails it. And the male Shepard in some of those situations, in my opinion, sounded kind of forced.
Right.
He has his good points. Don't get me wrong, he was a great voice actor, and I think he did a really good job. But compared to the female Shepard's voice actor, in my mind, there's no contest. She did it so much better. I might be crucified for saying that, but that's
Why would you? I mean,
there are people out there that swear by male Shep.
Male Shep.
That's what like people.
I think of like that's what you call like a dog.
Yeah, male Shep and fem Shep. Those are the. But yeah, I always went with the exception of like, I always went fem Shep, but I did do a playthrough of it as the male Shepard to do like a comparison, because I was like, I started playing with the female Shepard, and maybe I'm just biased, so I tried playing as a male Shepard, and I was just like, nah, it's not the same.
Speaking of voice acting in Mass Effect, a very key thing, which I can't believe I recognize this, but in I think it's Mass Effect 3, the main villain, he started talking, and I was like, I know that voice. I know that voice from a American TV series. Not many people would have watched it, but I don't know. It's one of those lesser known ones. called The West Wing.
Are you talking about Martin Sheen?
Yes.
Yeah. They literally used his face. They mocapped him for the role. He's in Mass Effect 2 and 3. Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, it's him. Because I've only seen a bit of West Wing. It's mostly like something my parents watched because I wasn't really old enough at the time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of very political, obviously.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, the president's the evil guy in this. Like, oh, well, so good. He's such a good actor.
I want to get back to the topic, but before we do, I do need to say, I think that's one of the reasons that Mass Effect Andromeda failed, the fourth game in the Mass Effect series, because Mass Effect 2 and like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, they had some serious star power there. Like they had like what is it, Seth Green as Joker, the pilot. They had Keith David as Admiral Anderson. They had in the later games they had Martin Sheen playing the Elusive Man. They had like some serious big name actors and voice actors playing the roles in the game. And
I think it was a lot more than just the voice acting that
Oh
failed.
yeah. No. Believe me, Mass Effect Andromeda was a hot mess. There was tons of stuff wrong with that game. But I think that was just one of the nails in the coffin. Like, there was that one. There was the fact that it was buggy as fuck when it came out because they switched engines. There was the fact that Ryder, the main character, was just like, I don't know, a fucking wet towel compared to Shepard. There's the fact that most of the companions were completely unlikable. With the exception of the old Krogan dude. That guy was hilarious. He was like the one beacon of light in that entire game.
Krogans are like the lizard dudes, right?
Yeah, they're the big guys. They were my favorite characters all throughout the Mass Effect series.
Could you identify with them?
I could. What, being a big lizard person?
Yeah. Being a scaly. No.
Oh, God.
Save it for episode 3.
Where we talk about our horrible medical conditions.
Anyway, yes. So back to the topic. What was the what was the big trope that you had in mind?
So first of all, I did want to talk about the whole like climactic death thing a little, or like the long drawn out death. That was kind of how you let it in, and then versus I personally, to quote one of Zero Punctuation, one of my favorite video game review shows. I feel like a lot of times writers abuse the person got a horrible injury that's definitely going to kill you, but is easygoing enough for you to talk about your entire life story.
Right.
And like just like the long drawn out dramatic death where the person has just enough time to tell you all this critical information before they croak.
Yeah. Give you a quick A4 page of information.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes, by the way, for people who don't know, because I only found this out from working in my current job, A4 is a paper size.
Wait, what? You guys don't use what?
No, we use 8.5 by 11.
What? That one blows my mind, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, A4 is, and it pisses me off because every time I get a document from our fucking UK and Europe offices, they're all a weird size and they don't scan properly.
So you know what A3 is?
Yes, I know they're different paper sizes.
Oh wow!
But
but you don't know like whether that's bigger or smaller.
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Okay.
So 8.5 by 11 is our standard paper size. It's 8.5 inches by 11 inches. That's our standard paper.
If you're asking for a piece of paper, you would say the inches rather than a classification for it.
Yeah.
That's strange.
8.5 by 11 is our standard paper size. A4, I think, is slightly longer than that. And
A4 is a standard, piece of paper. I don't know how to say it otherwise.
Yeah.
It's
so
A4.
There are two paper sizes that I used a lot, being an engineer, and that was 8.5 by 11 for like documents and stuff, and then for detailed drawings I used 11 by 17, which is just basically really long paper for like piping and instrumentation. I almost use the abbreviation P&ID drawings, piping and instrumentation.
Okay.
But yeah, So little tangent there back into the differences between the two countries. Yeah, we don't have like a label for the paper size.
A5 would be if you folded it in half. So it'd be half the size is an A5.
Okay.
And then, okay, if you doubled it up so that the short edge was doubled, that's A3. Am I blowing your mind?
I'm picturing this in my head. Sorry for the dead silence. Okay,
so if you had it like portrait and then put another one next to it, that would be A3.
Okay, so A3 is probably like the 11 by 17 equivalent. I'm not sure what A5 would be for US sizes.
It'll just be the long side cut in half.
Yeah. I'm trying. We don't really have a standard paper. This is blowing my mind now. Like I knew about A4 from work because every time
that's not
every time I get a scanned document from Europe, it's all like a weird size, and I can't get it to fit properly when I print it.
Wow.
Oh. First world problems.
But yes, back to the topic again.
Yeah. Sorry. So what I was trying to say. God, I got completely lost there. Yeah, the long drawn out thing. There are times where they do it poorly. That's right. Because you were saying A4. They hand you an A4 sheet of their backstory. But there are times where it's handled really well. Call back to an earlier podcast. I was talking about Stargate Universe. That series. There's one segment where they handle it really well. This guy is like crushed under some rubble. His spine is severed. He's clearly bleeding, and only the pressure from the rubble is keeping him alive. So that makes perfect sense. It's going to take him a long ass time to bleed out, but they have to get away. So he has time to have like a long, meaningful conversation with somebody. And then when the conversation is over, he doesn't just conveniently die. One other major character takes it upon himself to put him out of his misery because he doesn't want him alone and suffering there. So he strangles him. And I think that's an example of a good way to do that as a plot point, because you needed this character to be able to do exposition, and then you needed him to die at a certain point. So by telling the story that way, you've now added depth to both characters, and you've gotten what you needed to out of the story.
Absolutely. Or you could go the other route, where they only get halfway through their exposition before they croak. And then it's not too long, so it keeps things interesting and adds a mystery of what they were going to say.
Well, that's that's kind of my point. There's ways to do a lot of the things I was thinking about when I wrote this topic down. There's ways to do it right, and there's ways to do it wrong. And that's a perfect example when they just conveniently happen to die of the death right after they tell their story. That's a lazy way to write. But when you do something like that, where you have some kind of a reason that either they don't finish, or you make it poignant why it finishes there. But yeah, some of the tropes I was thinking about, aside from that, because I just wanted to finish that thought before I moved on. I guess just in general, contrived plot points piss me off. Like, because you're right, I can't think of anything positive. But like when things just happen because the script or the plot says so, and it's just like we want to get from point A to point B, and we can't figure out how, so just throw in a Deus Ex Machina and it works out.
Kind of like I can't think of the word now to describe it, but like in Bleach when they had the
filler episodes,
filler episodes. Okay.
Oh god, so,
yeah. I mean, they had two kinds in Bleach. They had the filler episodes, which were like Don Kanonji episodes, which sucked out. When I was a kid, I liked them.
Yeah.
But as an adult watching Bleach, they were a massive pain in the ass to watch.
Yeah.
And then they also had the entire like filler seasons. I call them like the bounce, right?
That's literally why I stopped watching that anime, because I was watching it all the way into like my college years, and at that point, like they had just gone into the Horatio Mundo?
Waco Mundo.
Waco Mundo? Horatio.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Horatio, though. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. Mundo means like world in Spanish, so I just kind of thought that, you know. Anyway, so Horatio just. The funny thing is, in my head, I've been reading it as Horatio Mundo ever since I was in high school, and it probably said Huerto Mundo on the screen.
Waco, Hueco. There's no T. Oh my god, I'm triggered.
I have a tendency to not, like, when I'm reading, skim, like not necessarily skim, but like I don't actively look at all the letters in the word. I just
No, I know you do it with characters all the time.
And I just kind of I remember the substance, but the exact terminology and phrasing.
I mean, you literally just had, like, when we were playing Rainbow immediately before this, you're like, that's soya sauce. Oh, Goya.
Goya. Yeah.
Like, oh.
His name is Goyo, by the way. I kept calling him Goya.
Like the sauce.
They make rice and really good hot sauce.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, I completely lost track. Oh yeah, so the filler episodes and stuff. That was actually why I stopped watching Bleach. Was they interrupted that arc, like interrupted it at a critical moment, and then just did a filler arc. They jumped through time back to something else, and I know why they did it.
Third mode of filler in Bleach is flashback.
Yeah.
They did all the kinds of flashbacks, all the kinds of filler you can do.
There's a reason that they did it, like, from a real-world perspective. It's because the manga wasn't being written as fast as the show was airing.
Okay.
And so they had to do filler.
You'd think there'd be more cohesiveness between the two, though. Like, where they were just like, okay, this is what we're going to do in the manga.
Well, so, you see that happening all the time, though. But the classic example of this is Song of Ice and Fire, or as everyone seems to know it now, Game of Thrones. I started reading those books when, maybe I should save this for media, but I started reading those books when I was in 7th or 8th grade. I would have been like 11 or 12. And there were only 2 books out at the time. And I read them all the way up through the 5th book, and there's now been like a 10-year gap in terms of book releases. And because of that, when HBO got to the later seasons of the TV show, they just sort of had to use whatever spark notes the author gave them. What?
Yeah. Just started making stuff up.
Yeah, and you know what? Those were the lowest rated seasons of the entire show because they didn't have that wellspring of substance to draw on. And don't tell me anything. If you've seen the last few seasons, don't tell me anything that happened.
No, I don't really have Game of Thrones much. It was too overhyped.
I tried watching the first season, and I started watching it, and all I could think was, man, I want to read the books again, and I did.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't read those books, like, not maybe you in particular, but anyone listening, very well worth the read. It's a bit of a hike, because the books are between 900 and 1,100 pages per book. It's
that's 1,100 for anyone who's not an American.
That's another thing. I didn't realize you guys... This was a conversation we had a while ago. You guys, in the thousands, you don't... So, like, in the U.S., we'll say things like 2,400 to mean 2,400. But apparently that's not a thing over there.
No, you don't. The moment you leave the hundreds, you go into the thousands. Like, the moment you leave 999, it's 1,000.
Yeah, well, we'd say 1,000. We wouldn't say 1,000. But once you pass 1,000, people will go like 1,100, 1,200, 1,300.
Okay.
And technically,
that's more confusing in my opinion.
Well, in my mind,
so you would say like 1,050.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd say 100, 200, 300, 400, whatever. 999, 1,001.
Yeah. And then all the way up to 1,099. But then after we pass that, it'd be 1,100, 1,101,
how is
1,150.
That worse? You're going back, you're regressing.
But
Oh,
I don't know. There are quirks like that in every language, though, with counting. Because I'm thinking of like in Spanish and so German.
By the way, what was the topic we just left? Because we're gonna have to come back to it.
We're talking about tropes, and filler episodes in particular, and how they're annoying and grating and.
Yeah, so I feel like we're about to forget it.
You know what? Let's close out that discussion because we're actually coming near the end on time for what we'd want to do for segment 1.
Okay.
We can revisit this in the media section, like the tropes.
Well, to be fair, the English to America thing is something that we find out on a daily basis. So I feel like it's going to be a part of every single
It really is
episode at some point.
We've known each other for what, 4 or 5 years now, and we're still
5 or 6, yeah.
We're still finding this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. But yeah, I'm just thinking like in German it's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then after 10 it goes 11, 12, and then it transitions back to 13. So
Right.
11 and 12 are just like 12 and 11 are weird, but then you get to 13 and suddenly it's 310 essentially is what it translates. So 13.
Okay.
And but then when you get to like in the 20s again, it's like 21, so 1 in 20. So it in Spanish does the exact same thing, where you go like
and French.
Yeah, I think it might just be like a Latin language thing. For whatever reason, like the teens are different than the 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on. And it's
Wait, hang on, is it different English?
Well, I think
No, it's not. It's also
Yeah.
like. Yeah, no, I'm just dumb.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
hold on. Yeah, 11, 12. Then you go 13,
those are
14,
all
15,
new.
16.
Yeah,
20, 21.
But then it goes to 21.
Yeah.
It's just 20 and 1.
Yeah, technically,
Wow,
I guess it's...
Like,
So what you're hearing right now is us, like, having our minds blown
brain fart.
in real time.
Yep.
Oh my god, I think we need a quick break to reset our brains. So I'm going to call it here for the end of the first segment of today's podcast. Thank you all for listening, and, we'll be back soon with segment 2. And we're back with segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast, episode 8. I'm going to talk for a little bit because Blue apparently has his mouth full right now.
In time, we're good.
Are you good? All right.
I've
He just ate a whole egg, ladies and gentlemen.
A Scotch egg.
What's a Scotch egg?
We've discussed this before. It's like an egg, a poached egg that's covered in meat and breadcrumbs.
I feel like I've heard the term Scotch egg before. In fact, I'm pretty sure my mother has talked about them, like cooking them.
They're very nice.
I don't think I've ever eaten one. I might be wrong.
England, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I didn't eat enough of your weird food over there. Like,
Yeah, you just ate all the
sorry.
fucking mustard.
The mustard was fucking amazing. And meat pies. We don't really have meat pies over here.
When you say that, but Jesse has confirmed to me that
they exist. They're just not as common.
Right.
Like, there are meat pies over here, but they're more like a festive dish.
Okay. Not like a farmery dish.
Yeah, no. Farmery dish wouldn't be meat pies over here, unless
for a fisherman over there, because you might have fish pies if you're a fisherman.
Fish pies. They make fish pies?
Oh my god. Yeah, there's fish
So
pies.
even the meat pies I'm talking about, they stuff it with bird, like turkey or chicken, like a chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie is what I'm thinking of when I think of meat pies over here, and that's more of like kind of a festive dish, like Thanksgiving or Christmas.
That just reminds me of Pucker Pie. There's a brand over here called Pucker Pie, or if you're especially northern, Pucker Pies.
Okay, I'm sorry. Before we start talking about this again, every segment is just the US versus the UK right now. This segment, I didn't say it during the intro, is supposed to be media. And it's the one I was looking forward to for today. And we're talking about meat pies.
About Pucker Pie. Oh, I love me a Pucker Pie.
Oh, I love me a Pucker Pie.
Not Irish.
Fuck. I know. I'm just... I tried to do, while you were gone, making coffee, which I just see the picture that you posted. I was trying to do... I was remembering a quote from a TV show, and I was trying to do a Scottish accent, and it kept devolving into Irish. I couldn't get, like, it quite right.
Yeah. There's, Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yes, media.
Yeah, sorry. So, I mean, the reason that I'm eager for this segment today is because I finished Lucifer. I started talking about it last week, and I hadn't quite gotten to the point where Netflix had taken over yet. But this week... oh my god, sorry about that. This week, I was watching the shit out of that series. I finished Season 3, which was the last season that they actually aired on TV, and then Netflix bought it. And... first of all, I'm just going to quickly talk about Season 3. It was way too long. It was 26 episodes. Each episode was like a 45-minute episode. It just went on, and there was tons of filler in it. They had one really good plot thread, which came to an extremely satisfying ending. Like, it's 26 episodes. The season finale was episode 24. Episode 25 and 26... were like these weird, goofy, off-canon episodes. 25 had probably the most annoying character I can imagine. Like, they got this, like... think like a mainstream TV show that has, like, kind of a dweeb character. Like, somebody who's super nerdy, got a nasally voice, and they're kind of annoying. Like
Every main character in Big Bang Theory, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Now picture that character doing a scene with somebody who is, you know, very serious, very dangerous, and very angry.
That's kind of like Zombieland. The nerdy kid and the protection.
Not quite, because Zombieland actually handled that interaction pretty good. Like you had the more serious elements.
Done bad.
Yeah, this is that done very bad. Like, picture like a Shakespeare play, right, on stage. I'm trying to find the right metaphor for this because you haven't seen it. Picture a Shakespearean play like on stage, right?
Yeah.
And it's a dialogue between two characters, and one of the actors has like years of experience. They've lived on the stage. They've been in the most prestigious performances. And the other person is in high school, and they just started acting. That was this scene. And I literally had to fast forward through most of it from pure cringe. It was just awful. But then there was another episode after that was like a what-if thing, like an alternate dimension thing. Anyway, the last two episodes basically didn't count. But the finale of Season 3 was actually good, and it had a satisfying payoff, so... that kind of gave me some hope. Then they jumped into Season 4, and that was when Netflix took over. And it was immediately obvious that they had a much higher budget and much more talented writers. Because they kept the same theme of the story, but everything that I said that I wished they would bring back from the first season, they did. They focused, they were heavy into, like, they managed to strike a perfect balance between the supernatural bits of the show and the like buddy cop police detective CSI version of the show. They meshed them together so well. They gave both of them the time that they needed, and because the season was shorter, it was only 10 episodes, they were able to keep a solid plot thread moving through the whole thing and keep it tense and interesting without dragging things out or feeling like they were making things happen too fast. The season 4 was absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing, and it was the first season which got me hooked on the show, but on steroids. Just loved it.
Yeah.
Season 5, it came on a little too strong in the beginning. Like, there were episodes that were hard for me to watch because I think they were... You know what? I'm going to bring this back to... this is a mild spoiler for people who haven't seen this show or have any interest in watching it after listening to me both complain and rhapsodize about it. In Season 5, they start off with a trope that it always, like... I have trouble dealing with it whenever I see it in a movie or whenever I see it in a TV show, and I'm not sure exactly why. But it's when somebody with malicious intent is impersonating another character, right? And trying to, like, screw with their lives. So, like, I don't know, if there's, like, a twin or somebody has taken over somebody's body or...
Right,
in like a sci-fi sense, or they're doing something on their accounts.
In a social sense, it's kind of very painful, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't know. There's a little bit of that in the beginning of Season 5, and that, like, I had a hard time getting through those first 2 episodes because, for me personally, seeing that sort of thing in, like, a TV show or a movie, it messes with me.
It's the kind of horror that you get in, like, Black Mirror.
Right. And
where it's not actually, like, scary, like, nothing horrible is happening, but it's, like, someone who isn't you being you is very uncomfortable. Because everyone thinks everything that they are doing is something that you are doing. You do not condone what they're doing.
Right. So... that's actually a really good point. It is a form of horror, isn't it? Like as like a movie trope thing, because
it's like being trapped and forced to do something, but you have no control of what you're doing.
And that's something
you do feel guilty for what happens, but it's not you.
That's actually this is before I that reminds me of a book series, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But
yeah,
so. My friend Emily from home, she was obsessed with horror movies, loved them all throughout, you know, our childhood.
Yeah.
And what I didn't like the same kind of, like, she'd go to, like, see like The Ring and all these other, you know, horror movies like that, things where there's monsters and mess with people. Those types of horror movies never really did anything for me. They were like, kind of like, oh, there's a videotape and you see it and you die in 7 days. Oh no, it's just like colon cancer. It didn't scare me in the same way that I feel like it scared some people. The horror movies that really get under my skin are the ones like what you're talking about, where it's low key and it's psychological, right? It gets in your head. Like, that's the kind of horror film that really, like, will get to me.
Yeah, regarding The Ring,
yeah,
I watched I've never seen The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a review on it by... oh god, I can't remember who it was now. And they were talking about it anyway. And they were going through a lot of the scenes. It might have been Critical Drinker. He's another really good YouTuber.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure I sent you a link to one of his videos a while back.
Right. They, for all my life, I've heard about The Ring, and I've heard people go, oh my god, it's horrifying. It's so scary.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I was like, well, one person died, and you don't even see any, like... You see one actual apparition, right? I think.
Oh my god!
And even that is just like an emo girl. I see enough of them around the fucking streets. Like it's it doesn't seem nearly as scary as people have been making it sound.
I'm sorry. It's one emo girl, and I see enough of those in the streets.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so just
everyone
but
has had a
true.
fucking emo phase.
It's true. It's true. You see I never had an emo phase.
Oh, fuck it, you did.
No, I had like a surfer dude phase. Like, you see me in high school, I had like really long hair.
Yeah, I mean, so did I. But like, long hair can be kind of emo, to be fair.
Well, it can, but normally, they dye it black and they wear eyeshadow and shit. That's the stereotype, right?
I went as far as painting my nails once, and well, a few times. But that was it.
I never went that. I never went down that route. I was a very happy teenager.
Yeah, you were a bit of a mad nutter, though.
Well, okay, yeah, but that's still not emo.
This is true. You went down a different path of insanity.
I had a psychotic phase.
Yeah, teched into it. But yes, sorry.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. But that's kind of why those types of horror movies never really got to me in general, because exactly like you said, it's the practical, rational mind just sees something like that, and it's just like, yeah, okay, and you move on.
Yeah. Sorry, was there any more on the Ring that you wanted to discuss?
No. We kind of transitioned pretty neatly, but I did want to. I don't know how deep I want to get into. So I'm going to bring up a few key plot points from Lucifer,
Okay,
and so if anyone again is still thinking about watching that series, just skip ahead a bit, because I'm gonna like dump a bunch of spoilers and then we're gonna discuss.
Maybe if Kaiser has the time and energy, he might put in a timestamp.
Yeah, that doesn't usually happen.
Unlikely.
Sometimes I remember to edit in a picture.
This is true. I feel like you need to put in a pucker pie when I was talking about pucker pies.
Oh my god. Then I have to go back and search for pies.
I'll send you a pucker pie picture. Pucker pie pics.
So
anyway, yes, God.
They do two things in season 4 and 5, and 4 right. Again, absolute masterclass. The bits that I really cared about, they introduce like kind of a prophecy and like a religious zealot who finds out that the main character is actually the devil and is trying to kill him. And
that reminds me of a trope that we need to bring up, but go on.
And then the major female protagonist, who the two of them are sort of love interests for each other. She becomes aware of who he is near the end of the season and kind of just goes into almost comatose. And there's what I liked about it is they're balancing all these things. There's this there's the day-to-day police stuff, the CSI element. They've got all these characters who are supernatural, and they're all dealing with sort of their interactions with mortal human beings. And then you've also got their actual supernatural conflicts where they're dealing with demons coming up from hell, and they're dealing with other sort of sibling angels coming down and messing with them. And they balance. Once Netflix took over, this is what I meant when I said they had a higher budget and more competent writing. The higher budget, they definitely have better special effects in these seasons. And even then, the special effects are minimal, but they're higher quality now. But the writing is really where it comes through, because the way the characters are written, they do such a good job in the Netflix seasons of making the characters complex. The things I didn't like, but this is something. Speaking of tropes, this is one that really annoys me. Is the hey guys, hear about current events trope. It's something that's been going back all the way to the 90s. Like, I remember cartoons that I watched as a kid, and they'd have that one episode where they'd talk about gangs and drugs or something like that, or they'd have that one episode where they're like, we're destroying the environment, and nowadays they have that one episode where it's
political message.
Yeah, exactly. They it's something that shows have been shoehorning in since I can remember.
That's kind of what I was gonna something I was gonna bring up because, and okay, I am an agnostic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have to admit there is far too much hate against religious groups in games and more so in TV and films at the moment because maybe it's just the stuff that I'm watching. It happens to be like the church is always evil. There's very few good things said about the church in media I see these days.
Yeah, and that's something that I personally, and you know, I've said it on this podcast. I am religious. I'm Catholic, and it gets grating after a while because it's like I went to church my entire youth. Like the priest was a good friend of the family. Like there was nothing bad, and it was never preachy. Ironically, it was always like the message was always just be a good person. They'd tell some stories and stuff and go like, you know, here's just some positivity for your life. That was my entire experience with religion growing up, and I realized that's not everyone's. But you're right, in like mainstream, like if you're talking about like TV shows and a lot of movies, if religion gets brought up, it's never the good guy. And at best, it's portrayed neutrally. They do that. So when I was talking about they introduced the like a religious zealot in the 4th season.
Yeah,
it's portrayed pretty much as positively as religion ever is in modern TV. Meaning, the actual mainstream church is perfectly neutral, and just this one guy goes off on his own and is evil.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like this one token character who is like stereotype of religious person, right?
Yeah.
And who, by the way, she is an amazing character in the series, but her religiosity seems to be a little shoehorned in clumsily. Religiosity?
Yeah.
I think it is. I've heard people use it before. It may just be kind of a slang term. I've heard it used before, but it may have
2 for 2 on made up words this session.
I don't know. Like maybe we're setting the trend. You know, Webster Dictionary, hit us up.
Dictionary, yeah.
Anyway, but you're right. That's a good trope to talk about because I mean that is
the other major kind of the people who get it worst have got to be the poor Germans.
Oh yeah.
Like I think it's actually like illegal to imitate Hitler in Germany.
It is. It's also illegal to display the swastika anywhere in Germany.
Yeah, and I don't mean just like starting a campaign for those kind of Nazi rights. I mean literally, if you go up and do like a Charlie Chaplin mustache and go hail to someone, or something, then you're going to get arrested. And I would be so sick and tired of hearing that if I were German, because I know the moment anyone hears a German accent, they're like, "Ooh, it's in the back of their head."
Clearly it's a bad guy,
right?
They have that evil German voice.
He did that with Call of Duty for a long time, where it was always the Germans are the worst. They've got zombies and stuff like that. And then they switched to hating on Russia. And I think Russia's got a pretty damn... I mean, to be fair, Germany's got a thick skin. But they suddenly started saying that all Russians are evil. Maybe it was because of like Die Hard or something, because I know Russian is always bad man in that. There's a lot of
there's a I gotta retell this story, but I agree with. I gotta remember this. This hold on, I'm writing this down because I don't want to forget this story.
Okay, do you want me to keep talking?
No. So I just had to write down like one word, and I knew I'd remember it with that. So I agree with you with that whole. I can't imagine like what it must be like, you know, living in Germany, because to have sort of that societal reinforced guilt that's just on your head, and just I know me, and part of this, I don't know how much of this is down to my own personality. Part of this is down to like where I grew up. But if somebody tells me don't do that, my first reaction is fuck off. I'm gonna do that right now.
Yeah.
Like it's the whole "you're not my father, Dad" sort of reaction. Like just I can't. But you're right, and one of the things that's fucked up about that is you could literally be making fun of the Nazis, and that's illegal. Like, it's illegal to praise them, it's illegal to make fun of them, it's illegal to just talk about them.
Is it illegal to make fun of them?
Well, if you're doing like a parody, for instance.
Oh, okay.
So if you like do you know the movie The Producers?
I haven't actually seen it, but I've seen obviously the famous
whole
song.
Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
Well, they probably don't want that around because it reminds people of
well, but that's the thing. If I feel like that's counterproductive. We're maybe going down a little bit of a political rabbit hole here, but I think that's counterproductive because if you can't, mock it and make fun of it like that, and have some kind of a intelligent discussion going like, this was bad. Let's figure out why this was bad and like really dig down to the root of it. If you can't do that, then it's going to become almost like a forbidden fruit kind of thing. It's going to tempt people to go and actually explore it. And maybe they won't find out that it's bad on their own. Maybe they'll go like, hey, you know what? That guy with the funny little mustache, he had something right. But again, I'm coming from, freedom and Burgerland over here, so I might have a little bit comedy. Of a... Sorry?
If we wouldn't have any comedy at all if there wasn't someone being the butt of the joke. I know we talked before about how like Stephen Fry and oh god, what's his name? Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Are big advocates of you could say whatever the fuck you want. I mean, if
you should be able to. I agree with that.
You can talk about any topic in the world you want, and if you're a comedian, you need to be able to talk about any comedy. Anything for comedy, sorry.
Yeah.
Because the funniest jokes are the ones that
cross the line.
Because they're the things that other people aren't prepared to say. It's a new experience coming to these things.
But
because you don't hear them in everyday life, and that's what makes them funny.
Comedy is rooted in social transgression.
Yeah.
Like you have to cross some kind of a line. Like a fart joke is funny because you're not supposed to fart around people. Like that's the most basic one, right?
Yeah.
And then like
that's toilet humor.
But exactly. But that's what I mean. It's I personally it's lowbrow humor, but I think it's a really good metaphor because
it is. It works.
I mean, babies laugh at farts. So like even from infancy, you kind of understand that doing something you're kind of not supposed to and making a funny sound is humorous. And then you kind of bring that up to the more complex things. The whole reason that like the producers, that movie is so funny is because it's the whole movie is about these two producers that like want to get fired or something like that. I haven't seen the movie either, but I've seen clips from it. Is like they want to get fired or something like that, so they try to make the most horrible, egregious play ever. And so it's like Springtime for Hitler. That was the that was the play. And people end up loving it because they think that they're like they made the play to mock and ridicule him. Because the actor who plays the guy on stage in the movie makes him out to be like this very flamboyant, like girly man. I had to say that in a Schwarzenegger accent, but
sure.
That's really I won't say too much more about that. Just I agree with you 100% on this on this point. You need to cross a line to actually be funny, and if you can't make fun of something, then I think it inevitably makes that thing a sacred cow, like something that people end up revering rather than thinking of as shameful, inevitably. And I think that's a dangerous way to go. Like everything should...
That is going too far with it.
Oh, yeah. Like, if I walk out my door right now with a fucking red armband and a, Hugo Boss suit on, goose stepping down the sidewalk, then, yeah, that's going too far. I've moved from parody into just, hey, I'm cosplaying as a Nazi.
To see it. When you go to a comedy club or something, you want that kind of thing to happen.
Right, exactly.
If fucking Ricky Gervais came onto the stage in a Nazi outfit, people would be shitting themselves before he opens his mouth.
Right, exactly. Because you're going in there with the expectation that this guy is here to be funny. Like,
yes, he's a jackass.
Now, if you just boarded an airplane and saw somebody dressed up like Goebbels, then maybe that's a little bit too far. I'm sorry, did I just make you choke on your coffee?
Yes. Oh shit. It'll be alright. Okay. Taking it away from there. Taking it back from the politics.
Yes, I want to tell the story that I had noted down.
Okay.
Because you were talking about like Russians and them having thick skins.
Okay.
There was this long documentary series that I watched about the Romanovs. And
Romanovs?
You say it Romanov?
Oh, I don't know. Isn't it that?
I don't know. Is it Romanov or is it Romanov? Here's another one. Are we pronouncing this right, wrong? Maybe it's Romanov. Doesn't matter.
I'll shut up. It's Russian. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't speak Russian. Actually, no. I take that back. I know 3 words of Russian, and they are the only 3 words I will ever remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, what is it? Da, niet, and dziewczyna. I know yes, no, and woman.
Yeah, I've heard this enough times. Go on.
I know. It's an old... I haven't told that story in a long time, and I certainly have not told it on the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, so during that documentary series, they had someone on talking about like an old Russian like anecdote, I guess. And the story is what was it? This old Russian woman. She's living alone up in like some rural region like Siberia or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And every night the devil comes and torments her. And every night she prays that the devil will go away and that he'll not come and harass her anymore, and that she'll have a restful night. And finally, after it's some number of nights, like 3, 5, 7 a week, maybe, I don't know, the devil comes in and comes and torments and harasses her, and instead of praying, she goes, "Fuck off." And then the devil never comes back.
Oh, she hurt his feelings.
It struck me as such like a quintessentially like Eastern European / like Russian story, because like she's praying for help and trying to be a good person, and he's still coming and harassing her, and then she just turns to him and looks him in the face and just goes like, "Fuck off."
Yeah. Well, don't they say that God helps those who help themselves?
Yeah. That's actually...
So I feel like that would be a good example.
Bringing it back to Lucifer, that's actually a major theme throughout the whole series.
Oh?
Overall, like, going back to that, how religion is handled in modern media, Lucifer's probably one of the most balanced portrayals of it. I mean, it kind of has to be, because the major theme is angels and devils and heaven and hell, but in Los Angeles. But that being said, they do handle it very well. Like they have a very balanced perspective towards it. They don't try to preach that all religion is bad and anyone who practiced it is secretly a, I don't know, control freak or sexually impotent.
I see. Okay, can I throw a new topic out?
Throw one out, and this will be the last thing that we discuss, because we are coming up on the end of segment 2.
Okay, cool. So, the last few days, there was one point, about half an hour of which I had absolutely nothing to do. So I was sat in front of the TV, I was looking through YouTube, and I was like, oh, upcoming films of 2021.
Okay.
And there was some spicy boys,
Oh,
and there was also 2020 as well. But yeah,
I completely forgot there was a movie I wanted to talk about. Go on.
So there is okay. Maybe just we'll start. A lot of the movies, I'm talking like 3, maybe even 4 of them, were to do with bats in some way. Either Batman, a different kind of Batman, a vampire bat, or I can't remember what the other one was. Yes, that's what 2021 is going to be all about.
Bats.
But there's a Marvel. Go on.
Bats, apparently.
Yep. The vampire bat one is a Marvel film, and I don't know if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy, which is always great. So I love kind of pushing the lines of you're not just having a stereotypical good person or a bad person. I think mixing between the two is a good thing. So there's this guy who has
gray area. Yeah.
Yeah. The main character, but from what I understood from the brief advert that I watched, I say brief, it was like a 3-minute advert. He was born with a genetic disability, and it meant that he was going to die after a certain amount of time. And so he spent all of his life looking for a cure, and then when he couldn't find a cure and he was about to die, he went off and did some crazy thing. It doesn't really explain what he did in the advert. He basically becomes a vampire. And so not only does he lose his inability to walk properly or coordinate himself, he has that and more.
He loses his ability to walk properly.
Sorry?
Sorry, you said he loses his ability to walk properly?
No, he gains the ability.
Oh, gains the ability. I thought you were talking about some kind of like a crippled Dracula.
He was kind of, I suppose, kind of like a cripple before. I don't know exactly what he had or anything like that because, like I said, it was an advert. But yeah, so he was. At first, when I was watching the thing, I was like, "Are they going to say that his disability is his superpower?" Because other things have done that, and it doesn't always go down well. That's all I'm saying. But no, so he finds this alternative to a cure. And it seems really dark. It seems like he does some fucked up stuff, but I think he's also still trying to cure the disability for other people. I think that's just the idea I got. So it looked really good. Very dark for a Marvel film. Kind of what's the Punisher level of darkness?
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Unfortunately, you don't see the Punisher in any of the goddamn Marvel films.
The quote-unquote anti-hero. I mean, can you imagine the Punisher and, like, fucking Captain America standing next to each other?
But they would have to raise the age restriction on, all the main Marvel films, so they're never going to do it.
So, before I kind of respond to the trailer you just described, actually, just going off that, I feel like there's a couple examples of what movies could have been, and I'm thinking like they did all the random crap with the X-Men, right? And the first 3 were like that was still at the infancy of the superhero genre.
And another film that's coming out is an X-Men film. Go on.
Sorry, but what I'm getting is, do you ever see the movie Logan?
That's the origin story.
No. You're thinking there is an origin story one. Logan is actually kind of an alternate universe one where, spoiler alert, that they give this away in like the first 5 minutes of the movie, so I'm not really spoiling much. Charles Xavier has some kind of a seizure and kills most of the X-Men, except for Logan because he can regenerate, Wolverine. And so
I don't think I have to know them.
It's
where he had a brother.
Charles Xavier has some kind of you're thinking of the origin story, and that one I think is just called Wolverine.
Okay.
Logan though is just, it's so good. It's like that dark gray area, like what if the most fucked up thing happened, and at this point Wolverine is barely getting by as like a limo driver. He is basically drinking himself into oblivion. He is having trouble regenerating now, like it doesn't seem to be working the same way. Charles Xavier is in constant pain and every now and again has a massive seizure that will just like kill anyone in his general vicinity. except for Logan because he can regenerate, and so they have to keep him in like this bunker. And I don't know. It's a very well done plot, and probably one of my favorite portrayals of, because you were talking about the age restriction thing. This one like kicks up the X-Men from like a PG-13 rating to an R rating. It's a much more mature, mature, dark film, and Logan is he's portrayed much more flawed than he is in a lot of the other series. Like he has flaws in the series, but they're kind of like a watered down version of those character flaws, to make it more kid and teen friendly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There was another film that did just that I was going to talk about.
Okay, we're already at 37 minutes.
Okay.
So
I keep it snappy.
Yeah, keep it, because there's one I want to talk about really badly too. I haven't seen it, but I really want to talk. You know what? Fuck it.
25 minutes talking about Lucifer. This is your fault.
Alright, I'm making the call right now. This segment is gonna be long. What's your what were you talking about?
One of the adverts I saw, and I thought this was a horror movie at first. It was that like dark and gringy at the beginning of this advert, and then it turns out there's a new Ghostbusters film coming out.
Oh, aren't they erasing the one that happened in 2016?
I assume so. I mean, I can't blame them for it. But yeah, they're trying again. First of all, the original Ghostbusters with the 4 guys, that worked brilliantly. That was an amazing film. Then they tried it with 4 women. That did not work out because they were just awfully bad at writing for that film.
Yeah. The thing is, like, they could have done an all-female Ghostbusters movie. They just needed to have like competent writers.
Yeah, not make it such a comedy. And now they're doing kid Ghostbusters. Like I think the next generation kind of thing of the original Ghostbusters.
This is the 90s TV trope of let's do this but with edgy teenagers.
Right. It's exactly the opposite of it. So it started with a group of kids in the first one, and then the adults in the second one. It's the opposite of this. I don't know whether it is a higher age rating. It just seemed very ominous at the beginning. They're walking around like dark places as kids, and it's kind of, whenever it's a kid in trouble, you always kind of feel a bit more oof.
Yeah. Which oh god, I really want to talk about this too. Damn it, you keep telling me things that like I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this. And
yeah,
all right.
They used a lot of the original equipment, I think, as well.
That's so. One of the so I never saw the 2016 remake of Ghostbusters because I haven't been to see a movie in years. Like the only movies I ever watched were when I was like on a plane and they'd have like, you know, a movie, and that's how I saw Infinity War, was on a plane.
Yeah, and John Wick.
But so I never saw it, but one of the complaints that I heard coming out of that movie is that they did a bunch of the same like plot points in the same way that Star Wars Episode 7 basically just rehashed Star Wars Episode 4, the original, but with a new cast of characters. They hit all the same plot points, but they just but with like a slightly new twist on it, right? New special effects, new characters, but the same major points. And I heard from the people I know who have seen the 2016 remake that they did basically the same thing with that movie. They rehashed the first Ghostbusters movie, but they kind of cut out all of the context. They did the same major scenes and plot points and things, but less competently, if that makes sense.
I heard that a lot of the actual voice lines were ad-libbed. Wait, is ad-lib the right word?
They did it, like, improv, ad-libs. Yeah. They both, same thing.
Which is great for some bits, but for the mainstay, you really don't
you need to also the thing is you need to also have actors and actresses who are capable of ad-libbing their lines. Some people are. Some people walk out on stage and they just like they have the script and they twist things around. Like, so do you remember in the original Star Wars Episode 5 where Han Solo is about to be like frozen in that brick?
Yeah.
And Leia goes, "I love you," and he says, "I know." And then he gets frozen.
Yeah.
He was supposed to say "I love you too." He was supposed to say "I love you too," but he ad-libbed that line. He ad-libbed "I know," and I think he made the right decision because that scene is so much more emotionally poignant.
Devastating. Yeah.
Because of that.
Everyone saw something coming and then they completely subverted.
Yeah, but that was Harrison Ford ad-libbing the line, and so sometimes it makes sense, but I feel like you still need to have structure for your actors to follow. Like, from what I heard about the production in that movie, like you said, the director was just like, go out there and be funny. And
but then they threw in a sexy man Thor.
Oh yeah, that's right. The guy, I didn't realize that was the guy that played Thor that was in the movie.
Yeah, I can't remember what he's called. That Australian beautiful man.
Yeah. Big sexy muscle man.
I think you get in trouble for me again, aren't I?
We're gonna go like way off. We're already at 43 minutes, but I need to bring this up because it is current, it is a movie, and it is a shit show. And that's Mulan.
Yes, okay, well, first off, I plan on watching it.
Okay.
So I have been avoiding several of you. I have watched a few reviews of it. Me and Lee were going to watch it when it came out on the Disney Channel, and then we realized, oh, you have to have a Disney subscription, and then
pay $30 on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking daylight robbery. Absolutely awful.
I don't blame them.
I have seen all the things that have gone on about China and that.
The only thing I'll point out is the movie cost like $200 million to make, and they made it. From what I have heard, they tailor-made it to pander to China. And
China.
Well, yeah, you said pander. I know you guys. You guys don't have the R on the end. It sounds like panda. It's funny. Yeah, haha.
I know, just because pandas come from China. That was the only joke I was making.
I know.
Jackass.
I'm annoyed because in my head, before you said that, I said pander, and I specifically enunciated the R, because I'm like, if I say panda, people are going to say panda China.
I didn't notice
and
that,
then you said it out loud. And it's just like, fucking hell. I was trying so hard not to make it sound like panda. Anyway, this is the last bit of this, because we're already at 45 minutes. But $200 million what they spent on it, and they were doing it specifically to pander to China, the Chinese market, because the Chinese movie market is huge, tons of money. Box office sales in China were 23 million. Like, they've lost so much money. It's being mocked and ridiculed in China. They hate the movie. And
without wanting to spoil anything for myself or anyone who's going to watch, because I know someone is going to watch and has not seen it yet. The two major issues that I've heard about it: there is no journey for the character. The character doesn't really change throughout the whole story.
Yeah. Because
they don't need to.
Exactly.
And second of all, because it's a live action, they take out Mushu. You can't take out Mushu.
Mushu, exactly.
He's the comedy central of that film.
My favorite quote about this movie so far from a reviewer that I watched for like who was talking about it is, Mulan is powerful because she has a lot of chi, which is the Chinese equivalent of midichlorians.
Right.
I don't know. It made me laugh when I heard that line. But you're right. From what I've heard, there isn't really a character arc. Like, characters in the story, like not even main characters in the story don't develop in any way. They start off as a character archetype, and they stay that character archetype.
Yep. Start off as a god, stay as a god throughout the film, win the day. Oh look, there are gods, it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's end it there because we keep talking about this. I'm going to go into spoilers because
let's cut it.
Yeah, we'll cut it there. And after you and Eve actually watched the movie,
in December.
December, really?
It comes out in December, I think.
What? It's already out here.
No, but like.
Oh, for free?
Something happens in December. Maybe, yeah. I think it comes free on Disney Plus then, maybe. Because God knows I'm not paying £25 fucking to watch a piece of shit.
If you guys don't me playing like third wheel, I'll watch it with you guys. I'll buy it. I'm planning on getting a Disney Plus subscription anyway, so I can binge watch The Mandalorian because I've been meaning to see that. Can
switch away from Netflix. Hey, we're getting cut it now, guys.
Cut! End it! Oh God! Bail out! We're at we're literally close to but like we're almost at 50 minutes just with this segment. But again, we had a lot to talk about today.
We do.
And I don't mind. I've said from the beginning that I want this podcast to be somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And if we go 2 hours 2 weeks in a row, then that means we had something interesting to say, or we're a bunch of rambling morons who don't know when to stop.
Well, yeah, but it's when we go above 2 hours, then it's like the drinking becomes a drinking problem.
All right, fine. We're going to end it here. This is the end of segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast. Depending on when you're listening, you'll hear us in a few seconds or a few days. But either way, thank you. And welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We're on segment 3 now, which Blue seemed oddly excited about when he told me that he was looking forward to segment 3. So I'm assuming you have some kind of an idea what the hell we're going to be talking about in this segment, because I don't.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oof. Oh, I remember the I was talking about people and what utter buggers they can be. Just something that I experienced earlier today, literally. I was on the bus, and this really nice old couple got on the bus. They were really sweet. One of them even cracked a joke towards me about him needing glasses or something.
Yeah.
Very sweet. So they were sitting at the back of the bus near where I was. These two girls, who must have been like 16 or something, got on the bus. Neither of them were wearing face masks. And they sat like in front of this really nice couple. They weren't sitting in like different seating. They were sat right next to each other, which is against bus policy. They weren't wearing masks, which is against bus policy. They were in front of three elderly people, in fact, which is just, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then, when I thought it couldn't get any worse, one of them started blowing bubble gum. Like, for a start, you're not meant to be eating or drinking. Like, even before COVID on a bus. With COVID, so much worse. And then, the one who wasn't blowing bubble gum started poking the bubble. And then the one who was eating the bubble gum poked the bubble back into her own mouth, chewed it up, and blew another bubble. Oh, the germs! The germs!
I love how this whole thing has made everybody into a hypochondriac. But I'm on board with you on this one.
Decency. There's two lovely older people behind you, and you're being a bastard.
This is where the kind of line comes when you're talking about, like, it's less about... God, we're already diving into this, but I'm gonna just say this. It's less about following the rules during this very particular situation and more about just basic human decency. Like, you wouldn't walk past, another human being on the street and fart in their fucking face. Like,
right?
You would it's basic civilized human decency to try and, respect those around you, even if you don't know them or don't, even if you don't give a shit about them. Honestly, I just hit my computer again while I was talking, so that's going to come through the mic. I think that, yeah. So, and more so now, because there's the concern that people who are vulnerable like that, are going to catch something. It's the same thing during like a normal flu season too. Like, if you're feeling a little under the weather, you don't walk up next to like a 70-year-old person and cough in their face.
No.
Like, yeah, it's bad behavior during the best of times.
That wasn't just it for this bus ride of hell.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I'm waiting to hear.
So for a start, this bus ride is an hour long. All right.
Yeah.
And it is the hot. I was gonna say summer day. I don't think it's summer anymore, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think fall officially starts on the 20-something of spring, so it's still technically summer.
Yes, it was a hot day, is my point, inside this bus for an hour. And I was sat on the back of the bus, trying to stay away from as many people as I can, because buses are just generally gross anyway.
Yeah.
I could hear people at the front of the bus, and I could hear them, because they too were not wearing masks. They had a bottle of Tango with them, which is, in my eyes, they shouldn't be drinking on the bus, obviously, as we've discussed.
Sorry,
and also...
Is that like a tea or something? I've never heard of that brand.
Oh, Tango is like an orange-flavored fizzy drink.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, like an orange
soda. You have Fanta over there?
Yeah, we have Fanta.
It's exactly the same as Fanta, basically.
Okay, gotcha.
And second of all, it's a bad thing, because if you have a bottle of something, chances are they're going to be lazy little shits and leave the bottle on the bus. It's littering, and I hate it. And then one of them starts laughing with this most obnoxious laugh. Don't get me wrong. The two of us have weird fucking laughs, alright?
Yeah.
But this was like piercing. Not in a funny way, just in a gross way. And then the other one started doing like a mock throwing up sound.
God.
Like they were gagging.
Yeah.
It was not a pleasant bus ride. And then when I got up to get off the bus, they took fucking forever to stand up. So by the time I got to the stairs, they were just ahead of me going downstairs. So I had to wait as those two fucks walked past me.
So
I was very displeased.
Thank you for completely reinforcing my stereotype in my mind of buses. I have not ridden a bus in my own country since I was in grade school, because we kind of had to, for school trips and stuff like that. I lived, fortunately, close enough to the school that I could walk there, which was, being the old man that I am, I walked there, of course, uphill both ways, and it was snowing all the time.
Right.
I'm just full of it. I'm making a very terrible joke, but every time there's a reason that I don't like public transport in general. It tends to just be shit. The only exception I've found to that was in two places. Japan, obviously, when I was there, like, the trains were pristine, the seats were heated, like it was a smooth ride. The train cars were like soundproofed, so there was barely any noise even at the high speeds on a normal train track, which was crazy to me. I took a bus from the airport to our company office in Tokyo, and it was comfy. They had these cushioned seats. It was, again, heated, pristine in terms of cleanliness. And again, Japan, they take their public transports. The quote I remember hearing, I don't remember where I heard this from. It was on some other podcast. Was Japan is a place where people just don't give a fuck. They give a million fucks every day. Like, for some reason, and this is the experience I've had with the Japanese office at my company, like, they are some of the most professional, on point, and engaged. I guess engaged individuals is the word I'm looking for. Like they actually give a crap about getting the job done and getting it done right, and they really seem to care. So again, that's Japan. The other train system that I really liked was the one in Belgium. I took a train from Brussels, the Brussels airport, into downtown Brussels, and it may have just been like an off day or something. No one was really on the train, but it was really like it was comfortable. They had nice seats. They were well spaced. Like the train seemed to be in good condition, good repair.
To be fair, it's one of those countries where you see the name on something and you think this must be good quality. Like if you see a German name on some kind of machinery, then you're like,
yeah,
this shit's got to be the real deal.
Yeah, it's gonna be functional, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Belgium have like fine chocolate, and they got. Well, what else have they got? They got mountains, right?
No, they don't. They're right near the They're right near the coast.
Anyway, I kind of lump them in with Germany a little bit, but
I mean,
like it's not Belgian. It's generally better in some way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, isn't that where the EU is based? In Brussels? I don't know. I
don't know.
This is not something I pay a whole lot of attention to. You know from our previous conversations, I have pretty much zero respect for the EU. But that just might be my burger and freedom land coming through.
It's fine. We're not part of the EU anymore. We can.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can commiserate with us and make fun of it. And now they're gonna have to fucking bail out Greece again.
Yep. Yes.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to go down that particular political rabbit hole because here on I think this
that's a weak source political argument, by the way. Like,
I know, and I could do much better, but I'm doing my best to keep politics out of the podcast. We maybe we'll do like an after hours segment or something like that where we can actually talk politics and I'll age restrict it. But I'd like to keep
Does that mean I have to stop drinking alcohol during this one?
I mean, no, I'm not. Like I'm not stopping. I mean, I am. I've still got my
D&D in a bit, guys. You can't be drinking.
Just having a beer. Calm down. But yeah, we. Where was I even talking about? Oh, it's talking about Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain things that have qualities. Belgium, I think of like you were saying, chocolates and certain kinds of foods and confectionery stuff.
Yeah, I mean, France
Germany
is known for all those.
Yeah.
Things.
Oh God. By the way, I flew Air France one time for my for work. And I was literally just passing through France to go to Japan. I passed through France to go to Japan. For some reason, it was almost the same distance if I went west or east. And the cheaper flight was to fly from Boston to France and then from France over Russia to Tokyo. Like it was
right.
For some reason that was the cheaper way to go. And so my company, they default the cheaper way within reason. And some of the best food that I think I've eaten on an airplane was on Air France because they just, it's like luxury food. They had like foie gras and stuff. I'm like, I didn't even know what the fuck foie gras was.
Foie gras is like fish eggs, isn't it?
No. You're thinking of caviar. Okay. Foie gras is where they take a duck and fatten it up like significantly, like give it overfeed it. And then foie gras is the like minced liver of the duck.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I've had it before. It's just not something you have.
Yeah, it's very delicious. PETA hates it because they think. I mean, you're fattening up a duck, and it's considered animal cruelty or whatever. It doesn't matter. It tastes fucking delicious.
But let's call you correct, Kaiser. It doesn't fucking matter. It's delicious.
I love animals, and animals love me, but I also love eating animals.
This is true.
I am very much a carnivore, but
many animals would love to eat you.
Exactly. That's I think why animals like me. Like we have a kindred spirit relationship going on.
Get some good steaks out of that boy.
I pissed I pissed a friend of mine off one time. Back in this was we, I think this was like on one of the summer breaks from college. I went with her and a few of my friends from my hometown to a petting zoo, and
Oh yeah, I remember.
yeah, it was like a town fair or something like that. It's a big thing near my hometown, and they had a petting zoo. They have like a couple circus rides and things, and a few events. They can take you up in a blimp. All this small town fair kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went to the petting zoo, and a little bit too loudly, I was like, "Look at all the food."
Which means exactly the pitch you were going for.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I wasn't trying to keep quiet. I wasn't embarrassed. No. I'd eat half the animals. They had chickens and goats and sheep. I eat mutton. I eat goat. Cows. I've eaten horse before. It's not something I actively seek out, but I've eaten it.
I did something similar with Alicia the other day. So.
Oh yeah.
It kind of becomes something that I say now. Is I'm always threatening to eat that dog.
Those are two types of meat that I haven't eaten. That I think.
No, I've never eaten dog.
I would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actively seek it out, but if I was, say, in a culture that did eat dog and cat, I think I would.
Or if you're in the culture, if you're born into the culture.
Well, no, not born in the culture. I mean, visiting it, like visiting a location where that was something that was eaten.
When in Rome, do as the Romans.
Exactly. I think I would do it, and I would eat it, but it's not something I would try to avoid it, and I wouldn't necessarily ever go back and try it again.
No.
But
unless it was like really good.
I guess if it was really good, maybe I would.
I get a doggy bag to take away with me. That's too bad.
God, that's awful.
But sorry.
But I think the only kind of meat that I probably that I would never eat, the one line I think I would never cross, like in terms of eating another creature, it would be human, obviously.
Well, yes, I would hope so, guys. Jesus.
I don't know. I feel we're on the subject. I just admitted. So, I just admitted that I would probably eat like dog and cat under the right circumstances.
Yeah, right? Which is normal.
But I felt like I needed to qualify that because there's like animal activist psychos out there who would think that would mean I would eat anything. In fact,
you don't give a shit about their opinion, do you?
No, I don't. That's why I said it out loud.
Okay.
God. Okay, so we made a joke before we started the podcast today about the third segment essentially being the therapy segment where we just talk through the things that pissed us off. And like it's a wild card, and it has been. We've talked about having a third person on every now and again or something like that. Today's theme is let's just get some shit off our chest.
Well, actually, I've got a topic that will lighten the mood, perhaps.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you just...
Go on.
What did you just call me?
I didn't... What? I didn't refer to you. I said, well, I've got a topic that might lighten the mood.
Oh, okay. No,
what did you think I said?
Well, it sounded like you said, I have a topic that'll lighten the mood, and then my first name, and I was like... I don't think you've ever called me by name before. You just...
I have plenty of times.
Yeah, but it always sounds weird. It's just like I would never call you by your first name. It feels more natural calling you Blue. Yeah, my
D&D party called me by a first name. It's strange. So the what I was going to bring up is that it's finally happened. All right, the momentous occasion.
Oh my God! You've had sex.
To Alicia.
Oh wait, so you lost the game of Monopoly.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I talked over you. I talked over you there. So,
but it's like 25th game or something. I don't know.
How have you played 25 games of Monopoly?
Dude, every single day that I've been over there since before the lockdown, we've played a game of Monopoly. All right.
Oh my. Honestly, I play Monopoly maybe once or twice a year, and that's enough. I can't imagine playing it that much.
Right? This is real, like, relationship breaking shit now. And
oh god,
it's yeah, no, like, so one of the rules that we play, which I know you don't play, is that if you land on the go square, you get double the amount of money.
Yeah, you get $400 instead of 200. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you landed on go.
Yeah.
6 times. Like, it was basically more than half the times she went around the board, she landed on go. So she was stacked to the 9s.
So this is basically how I get through life, is just pure luck.
Exactly, but she did play well as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I know she'll probably be listening. I'm not necessarily making fun of you.
No.
But I am.
That's right. Attack him this time, sweetie. Attack him.
All right. Go on.
Yeah, and I pull one rule I have when I'm playing any game. As long as it's not with a child, I do not pull my punches, right?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna beat me at a game. They've beaten me fair and square. I've tried my damnedest to win. And hence the 25 games. And now she's done it. And, oh my god. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit salty. A little bit. Because I am a very competitive person when it comes to games.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
But when we finished, she stood up and she just started like getting the Wii ready because we were about to play the Wii, and I was like, oh, so every time that I've won, I've got up and given her a hug. But no, she's like, nope, this shit's been done now. I've won the game. But no, we did hug. We did hug afterwards.
Yeah, I know. But it's like she essentially treated it like the hiker who's just got to the top of Mount Everest, and he doesn't shout or anything. He just stands there, takes a deep breath, and goes,
with a smug fucking grin.
Done.
Oh my god.
And yes, I did equate winning a game of Monopoly to climbing Mount Everest.
Winning against me, well.
Oh my god.
No, she also snapped her figurine halfway through that one. Like the character she always plays is Alice. And so we've played like 24 games.
This is like one of those themed Monopolies, right?
Yeah, it's Disney themed.
Gotcha.
So we played 24 games with her playing this Alice character. She snaps the Alice character. I give her Lady and the Tramp, and then she goes on to win. So.
Well, apparently all the bad luck was contained in Alice.
Right? I've been playing Dumbo all this time, and I've just been bam, bam, bam.
Of course. It's a fucking elephant that can fly with his ears. Like,
yeah.
Of course Dumbo's gonna fucking win.
There was one game where I was being really cocky, where I was like, right, I'm not playing with Dumbo today, because Dumbo's retired on his vast wealth he has from you. He's going to sit on a coaster and overlook the board while I'll play as a different character.
Oh my god. Dumbo's got a fucking, like...
good boyfriend I am.
Dumbo's got a fucking Riviera villa, and he's just looking out on the fucking Mediterranean.
He came out of retirement, Rocky style, and then he got destroyed.
You know, there is something that I need to ask about, because I think this could be something, you know, we can use to transition off of.
Okay, yes.
Off of your Monopoly. No. Again, this is the therapy segment. We're just talking about what happened in our lives. I completely lost track of my own point. Oh, in standard Monopoly, what piece do you usually pick? 'Cause I feel like this says something about a person.
I like to pick the coolest looking thing, so it will either be the battleship, maybe the cannon, or the top hat.
You son of a bitch. You copied me in my first choice. My first choice is usually either the car or the battleship. Those are the two that I switch between. Most
Actually,
of the time,
if there's no one younger than me, I'll generally go with the dog.
Most of the time I go with the car, but
yeah.
The battleship is a close second.
Yeah, no one takes the shoe. No.
No. My mom always
Or
takes
the wheelbarrow.
my mother always used to take the thimble.
Really?
Yeah, she liked the thimble. I mean, she grew up on a farm and she loves sewing, like arts and crafts and stuff. So the thimble was like right up her alley. She loved that thing.
When you said thimble, I was thinking of like a shot glass. So it looks like one, but it isn't.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to remember what my dad took. I want to say he took...
Probably something sporty related.
Yeah, I think he... The thing is, I think he may have wanted to take the car a lot of the time, but because I was a kid, he let me take it.
Right.
You know, I know they're probably going to listen to this, but, you know, Dad, what the hell did you take in Monopoly? Because I'm scratching my head right now.
Very important question.
This is important. It speaks to his character as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, they wrote it on my birth certificate that I was always going to take the cannon. That is my astrological sign. That's how I live my life, Kaiser.
God, maybe he did take the shoe or the cannon. I'm sorry. This is important to me. I feel
this
like
is important to you. You don't believe in like psychic shit or stars or anything. But your Monopoly piece, that's grounded in real logic.
This is important. It's gonna tell me who people are. Like I'm gonna discern
true secrets of the close.
I am going to start a brand new field of astrology where I determine someone's entire life based on their Monopoly piece choice.
Oh my god. Yeah. I was actually thinking the other day, I can't remember if it was it was something that people could pick, and I think it was like Steam icons or something.
Yeah.
The Steam icons actually say quite a lot about a person.
I need to update mine because mine doesn't say quite the same things it used to about me. I've had that same Steam icon since 2014. Yep. Yeah, fuck off. Steam icon since 2014. It's been 6 years since I've changed it.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I get one every so often when my old college friend is like, "Hey, I've drawn something for you." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Time for an update, baby.
I'm sorry, did you say college or university?
College. I never went to uni.
Okay, that's.
Didn't think
I'm sorry.
It was worth the cost.
I want to say we've talked about this on the
high
podcast. Yeah.
College.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Obviously, Scott's icon, of course, perfectly represents him as a man of mystery.
It's just a question mark, isn't it?
It's a very fancy question mark. A brilliant designer made for him one day.
Oh, I see. And what is that designer's website? Yeah, it just if you know it.
I wouldn't. I don't feel like plugging.
I have honestly thought about putting. I think I may. Well, I've started crediting you in the videos where I actually use your artwork.
Yeah, I remember you asking me the other day. Yeah, just saying in the comment section is like more than enough.
Yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of the stuff I make for you guys doesn't get put up on my website because
it's normally special order.
Yeah, and like the designs I did recently from like the Valorant style guns, right? I'm not sure I want to put up like weapons on my page.
Especially not like weapons that are gun related. People are really sensitive about that now. So from a business perspective, that probably makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of one of my better.
I really like them. Like you sent me those pictures. Thing. Yeah,
because I've grown up playing games, and it's something that I'm quite passionate about, which sounds really sad. I'm aware.
But the thing
it's something that I really enjoy, so I like making art for it, but I can't really use it in my professional respect. So
this is actually a good topic or a good point of discussion, since this is the therapy segment.
Yeah.
I think that's a stereotype that I think needs to go away, is this idea that just because video games have a stigma of being a waste of time. But that's the same stigma that movies had in, the 60s and 70s. They had the stigma as being just a waste of time, escapism, essentially. Same thing with games. But if you're passionate about it and you can actually draw something out of it, then I don't think it really should be thought of that way. Like, if, for instance, like video gaming, like a lot of what I know about storytelling has come from playing really good narrative, like single player video games. And a lot of my ability to kind of organize and think strategically has also come from video games.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a stigma that shouldn't be there. Like, if you have that passion and you get something good out of it, fucking roll with it.
Yeah, I think variety in the games that you play is definitely better, because
Right.
if you just played, let's say,
COD or FIFA.
yeah, I don't think FIFA gives you many skills. Like, okay, it gives you possibly the ability to, I was going to say think on your feet. What I mean is, if something suddenly happens, you can quickly decide of what plan to do next. But if you're playing a game like even a first-person shooter, your reflexes and reactions are a lot heightened, and you also have to work cohesively as a team if you want to get good in a lot of them. There's lots of puzzle games out there which make you think outside of the box, or just help you to focus on an issue and work your way around it in a logical manner. I don't know. There's a lot of good that can come from games. Less so the whole like GTA style.
Yeah, it depends on.
Aspects.
So I think this comes down to, since we're now digging into human psychology here, I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that, like a lot of things in life, it's what you choose to get out of it. Like, if you're truly engaged with something, like, you can get a lot out of cleaning up a house if you choose to, like, engage your mind and really, like, focus on it. Like, maybe that's a bad example, but...
Well, I mean, it's like the whole Kung Fu Kid thing, where you're just, as an exaggerated example, but you're just, wiping down a car, but actually you're training to be a ninja at the same time.
To be fair, it's the Karate Kid, not the Kung Fu Kid. The Kung Fu Kid is like the bootleg version.
Is it?
I don't know, but I want to believe that out there somewhere there's a movie called The Kung Fu Kid that's just a bootleg version of the Karate Kid.
It's Karate Kid mixed with Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my god.
I love that.
Sorry.
But yes, that's how I do things in gaming.
Yeah. I'm just saying yeah over and over again. I feel like you do get a lot out of it. And with how ubiquitous video games are now, I feel like more and more people are going to be describing their life in terms of some kind of video game context.
Yeah.
I've caught myself doing it before, and when I was growing, I started, like, my first video games I got when I was 3 or 4 years old, and I got an original, we talked about this in one of the earlier podcasts, I got an original Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, and it was Mario and Duck Hunt, which at that point were 7 years out of date, because that system and stuff came out in the 85, I want to say, and this was like 92.
Right.
But basically, for all of the life that I have that I can remember, like, meaning not when I was a baby, I remember video games being a part of my life, and so I do think in those metaphors. Like going, oh, this story that I saw in this game, or this this life event makes me think of. I'm trying to think of a specific example that I can use.
Well, creativity from games. I'm sure it has changed greatly what you've been thinking as a DM. Dungeons and Dragons, basically.
Yeah, that's a topic, by the way, that I've written.
Scope.
Sorry, that's a topic I've written down multiple times. Is for us to talk about D&D, but I think we're probably going to be saving. That is going to be. I'm going to say it right now. That is going to be a topic in podcast 9.
In the next one.
Is we're going to talk about in the beginning. We're going to talk about.
It's going to be a long topic.
Well, some of our most.
Shit, I just remembered the topic I was going to bring up earlier and I completely forgot. Go on.
All right, no. I'm rambling. And I'm just basically. I don't know. I'm feeling. You've got me like pensive, thinking about life now, and passions that you have in life, and I could literally just sit here and rhapsodize, just staring at the ceiling, talking about this.
Podcast is.
No, for the most part, it has been pretty focused. We've just sort of, at the end, literally at the end, minutes from the end of the podcast, we've decided to get really philosophical.
Well, philosophical in games.
But, no, we're talking about games and how they impact your life and the way that you perceive the world. That, in my opinion, is fairly philosophical.
Okay.
Anyway, you said you had one thing that you wanted to talk about.
I was actually going to bring up in the media segment. It's an upcoming film based on a very old sci-fi book called Dune. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, have I heard of it? I've read it.
Well,
I have both a physical copy, a Kindle copy, and an audiobook.
So a lot of modern media was based off of it, I imagine. Like, just think about the giant sandworms. You see them in every fucking horror that has a worm.
They were in Star Wars.
Yeah, fucking Sarlacc bit, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Or was the Sarlacc? I don't know. Anyway.
It was the Sarlacc, and then there was also the space worm that popped out of an asteroid in one of the movies and ate the Millennium Falcon.
Yes, but yes, Dune. It's had several movies made about it previously that all just did shit. It looks, the advert for the one that's coming out soon looks insanely cool.
I have seen the trailer, and I really want to see it. I really want to see it.
Got to watch together.
Yeah, I agree. It's I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Because I read the books, like, so few people that I know.
Not read the book, kind of before me.
A few people I know from college loved that series. Big into that kind of sci-fi stuff, and have been bugging me to read it for a long time. I got the book, I started reading through it, I never finished it. Finally, when I had those long commutes into work, I got the audiobook and I listened to the whole thing through, and I'm really glad I did. I loved the story. It was really good. I know there are sequels and stuff after that. I haven't listened to and or read them.
How long was the book?
An audiobook format? I don't know if you want to fill just the blank space for a little bit. I can pull it up on my phone.
It looked really cool. It looked like a kind of Mad Max, the dusty, deserty, post-apocalypse kind of style, and then it has several different factions, kind of Game of Thrones style, from what I saw. And I know nothing about it, but I've heard about it from multiple sources, generally fairly older people, who reference it in other games or movies that they've seen.
Found it, by the way.
Cool, yeah, and I mean, just looking at some of the images, particularly of in the trailer of the fucking sandworm. I know we keep bringing up sandworm, and sandworms don't sound very cool on the face of it. This thing looked really cool, like Pacific Rim level, fucking massive monsters, really nice detail. Looked believably real.
Going back to the book itself, going back to an earlier thing we talked about, I think, like, I just really hope that when this comes out, they're true to the story, because the story was Dune, I think, has maintained its popularity, especially in the sci-fi kind of community around this sort of thing. because it's kind of a timeless story. You can read it in 2020 in the same way you can read it in the 1990s, and you can read it in, whenever it originally came out. It kind of still maintains that sort of timelessness. I did check, by the way, the audiobook is 21 hours long.
Okay, that's not too long.
No, it wasn't that bad. Took me a few weeks to finish on my commute. Anyway, I think we should wrap it up here. We're actually at 38 minutes.
Now I can put a giant sandworm in the thumbnail.
You're right. Oh god, it was your plan all along to...
I'm probably gonna forget now.
to slip your sandworm into the thumbnail.
Oh, Kaiser.
You're the one that made that into a euphemism. Fuck off. Alright. Alright. We're going to close it out here. This has been podcast number 8 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening the whole way through, and we hope that you'll come back for episode number 9.
Have a good week.